Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it. Greetings, Algo Artisans Cowboy here, and you'll have to excuse me, I'm a bit under the weather, and I may sound it, but we will get you the charts today. Before we jump into the charts, please take a look in the description. There is a free algo. There's a link in there. Click that link, and it'll send you an awesome video. It's just a video where I build an algo, turn it into code using Grok, and I show you the tools that traders use to connect their algos to their brokers so they can trade where they're not even sitting at the computer. Of course, you have to optimize the algo, but otherwise it's pretty much plug and play. So go ahead and check that out. In the meantime, we're going to take a look at the NASDAQ, USDJPY, BTC/USD, EURUSD, GBPJPY, gold, and silver. Before we do that, we're going to take a look at the economic data that comes out this week that can move the charts around over on forexfactory.com. Monday was pretty quiet, not really any news. Tomorrow, pretty quiet as well. There is some Aussie news. The Australian CPI comes out. That's their inflation metric at 7:30 p.m. EST. And at 9 EST, President Trump does his State of the Union. That can move things around. We'll have to see how that goes. That can add a little unpredictability to the charts. So remember, the charts that we do are based on what we know, and we don't know how that's going to go. Let's take a look at Wednesday, which really has nothing. Thursday, as we have every week, we have the unemployment claims from the prior week, and that happens at 8:30 a.m. EST. And then Friday is where we might see some fireworks. 8:30 a.m. EST, we have Canada's GDP, and we have the PPI for the US. The PPI is an inflation metric, so if that one is really far off the mark, it's way farther away from what we thought it was going to be, then that could move markets around quite a bit. So let's go ahead and jump into the charts. We'll start with the NASDAQ. We've had an exciting few weeks, and as the algos stand right now, most of these charts are sideways with a couple of exceptions. The precious metals here towards the end of the video are a little different, but it looks like the NASDAQ will probably just continue. How to get my specs on. You have a lower bound at 24,234, an upper bound at 25,462, and price probably won't go above or below either of those. Price wanted to go down, but it's being held up. So if it was going to break above anything, it would be 25,462-ish, but I don't know that it's going to have the juice for that. It would have to be some kind of a surprise thing from the State of the Union or the PPI. Otherwise, I expect sideways just through the rest of the week, maybe a slight bullish tint, and I would be kind of surprised to see price actually go below 24,440. Let's take a look at the USDJPY. I think USDJPY will probably stay range bound between 153.94 on the bottom here and 155.64 on the top. Price may want to grab some liquidity at that top, but in the end, there's still a lot of high time frame bearishness, and it will probably end up heading down towards the end of the week. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin rather bearish, and it just continues to be bearish. I've seen some pretty smart traders think we're going to see 58,000, which is actually down in this area, and we very well could, but I think price having fallen for so long may still have a nice bounce right here at this 60,000 level that was created back in February. That would be February the 5th, where price bounced right off of that really strong and then came down. So the two choices it has is it's going to just kind of go to the right and down and then bounce again at that level and probably have a small bounce and then continue down, or it's just going to waterfall past there. We don't know which one it's going to be. I wouldn't go short until it breaks below this level. I would look for possible longs, but again, it's pretty bearish. I would just be looking for short continuations, waiting for price to break below structures and then shorting those until I see something different in the algos. Let's take a look at EURUSD. Another sideways chart. I don't expect price to go above this local high here. It could, but 119.36 might be kind of hard to break for a couple of different reasons. There's a couple of structural points going back to this area here, as well as this local structure right there. So price may head up towards that, bounce its head off of that. If it heads down, you have a local structure at 117.41. That's a lower bound. But again, the charts seem pretty slow. So outside of major surprises, I expect sideways action, a little bit of bearishness on the euro. Let's take a look at GBPJPY. This one here has been pretty sideways and bearish overall. The Japanese yen is pretty strong, so I think we're going to see this grind down and to the right. And the upper bound, where I would not expect price to go above, is 209.67. Your lower bound really is a local lower bound here at 207.22, but I think price might be strong enough to go past that, and you have a much higher time frame. Bit of support here from this old structure going back to December 15th or so, and that level is 208,776. So price might make its way down there. We're going to have to see how that goes. Let's take a look at gold. So gold never suffered the fate that I was concerned about. It's been held up through the Chinese New Year, and I think we just are looking at either sideways or upward projections. You do have this all-time high at 5,900. I don't expect that to be broken this week, but I do expect either just a slow kind of grind to the right or maybe a bullish move to the right. We're just going to have to see how that goes, but I do expect price to end up between 5,100 and 5,600 this week. Probably higher than it is right now, which is 52.20. Let's take a look at silver. Not quite as bullish as gold. It's got a lot of downward pressure from the games played over at the CME. So price could actually knock its head on the structure for back on the 4th of February, which is at about $92, right? Price could knock its head on $92 and try to break that. If it did break that, I don't think we're going to see anything spectacular this week. It could happen. You know, especially if we go to war. That's one caveat about the metals is that if we go to war, the metals can really go up. And of course, we have aircraft carriers going into Iran and all that. So while these aircraft carriers seem to be having potty problems, the toilets don't work. Just the same, they're there, and we could see some fighting in the near future. So let's go ahead and see what happens with that. But outside of surprises, I expect silver to be either sideways or a little bit bullish, not going past or even probably near its all-time high. The highest I would expect this week could be probably knocking its head at about $100. That's what I would expect. And that's what we have for this week. Don't forget, at Algo Factory, we teach people how to predict where price is going and when it will get there. And if you can predict that information to a statistical degree of probability, if you could be right more often than you're wrong, even if it's just above 50%, it's as long as you're getting better than a coin toss, technically you can be profitable, and you can even tilt the casino in your favor by designing your trades to be asymmetrical. You win more than you lose, right? So this is a big system. It's not a get rich quick, but we teach you how to do it. We're very good at it. We've been doing it for years, kind of the best kept secret out there. And if you want to get a preview of that, go into the description, click in the free algo. Again, it's an algo that you would have to optimize for your assets, but it's otherwise pretty much plug and play. It's a video where I show you how I build the algo. It's pretty quick. It's a very short video. I show you how I turned it into code using Grok, and I show you the tools the traders use to connect that algo to their broker so they can trade when they're not sitting at the computer, whether you're sleeping or golfing or whatever it is you do throughout the whole day. Maybe you're working, who knows? Either way, come check us out. We will be live tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So tomorrow's Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. EST. And I am, again, under the weather. I'm not as, let's just say I'm a little worse than I may seem or sound. Just to let you know that if I do skip out, it means I couldn't hang. But honestly, I think I will push through. I think we will have these shows for you. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we will see you Tuesday morning, 8:30 a.m. sharp.